I think we was in New York. I don't even think I was there when he did when Busta started off the record. So I wasn't there. Yeah, and I was there. It was in New York, and the beat was way different. Dylan had came up with this other beat. This other beat was real crazy, and Busta started doing his Busta thing, and we eventually Dylan went back and flipped it, and then we did something else to it. We would do that if on Volume 2 we did like Dylan would do various remixes to the record before he figure out which one that would be the final one. You know what I'm saying? And he would play them for us, and we'd be like, "Well, yeah, I like this one, I like that one." But ultimately, we would always do various remixes and stuff like that.
My personal favorite Slum Village song, "Fall in Love."
Fall in Love. Fall in Love was just like one of those artist records. Like you felt like, you know, you love what you're doing. You got to understand, Slum Village was together for 10 years before we got signed to anything or even began to really do something. We were just together as a group. And even when we was together as a group, Dilla got on first. So me and Baten just had to wait patiently, you know what I'm saying, until the door was right for us to come through and do our record. So it wasn't just about that struggle that you get when you're trying to get through this music game, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, this is your passion, this is your love. You know what I'm saying? So regardless if it's good or bad, you don't. And we was telling, it was a song to warn people like, yeah, don't fall in love with this game because it don't always treat you good. You know what I'm saying? Early, you know what I'm saying? We was on that, and what's dope about one dope fact about that record is Dilla did his hook on like a handheld mic. Even though we was in a professional studio, we kind of wanted that cheapness on it. So he did his kind of live with the reverb already on it, just to give it kind of some funk. And I think I wrote my verse on the spot after he did that hook. And then about 10 weeks later, yeah.
Once Upon a Time featuring Pete Rock.
Shout out to Pete. That is my guy. First of all, shout out to Pete Rock. Pete, one of my guys, he will always come to Detroit. And I remember this one time he came through and he brought his own SP1200. And we kicked it, man. He just played beats after beats after beats. And we was just in the basement where we did most of Dilla joints. He was in the basement. He was playing joints. And Dilla was like, man, I think this one it. I was like, you think this the one? He was like, yeah, man, I think this one it. So we started working on it. And the original beat for Once Upon a Time, because we did 2 versions of Once Upon a Time. The original beat is different from the one that we end up using on the albums. Because I think we picked two or three beats, and the original one was way different. But anyway, he thought that was the original was a little more zanier. It had this little sound like you shooting a rubber band or something. I think it's been out. If you look, you'll see it. It's probably on volume 2.10 or something. I think it's on that. But yeah, so yeah, we vibed in the basement, man. Came up with some joints. Pete came down. Pete was cool, man. We kicked it. We definitely kicked it a lot.
So, Players, another one of my favorite.
Yes, that's the story of Players. Shout out to my homies from the D. What happened with Players was this. Okay, Dilla had he produced for a group out of Detroit. He produced for a group out of Detroit, right? Like he did their whole record. And they was kind of bragging and like about it, like, oh, we got our stuff out before y'all. You know what I'm saying? Dilla, y'all producer, man. You know what I'm saying? And so I think by 10 or something was like, yo, man, we need to do a record. So we did this record. We kind of did a diss record to this group because Players is like a diss record. It's like a fun diss record. But we end up putting them on the album anyway. They're on volume 1 anyway, which is crazy. So it's a diss record, but they the homies at the same time. But they inspired us to do this song. So that's how Players got done, about just talking about these guys that was bragging about Dilla doing their music. And we did a little diss record. It was all fun, though.
Raise It Up.
Raise It Up. Okay. here's what happened with Raise It Up. I think we was at the end of the album. This is the end of volume 2. We did a lot of records, and we was like, okay, we need a twist. We need something different, right? So I think Jay called me and he was like, yo, I got it. You know, Dilla called me and said, yo, I got something. And he played it, right? And he had I don't think he had his verse on there yet. And he played it, and I was like, man, I ain't know about Raise It Up at first. I ain't gonna even lie. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, Jay, if you think this is it, do your verse. And then, I know. He did his verse, and his verse was amazing. I was like, okay, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Once I heard his verse, I knew, okay, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so different from the rest of the album. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dave and Man at Large. A lot of people coming on here. It was so different from anything we had done before that it was just amazing. I think by 10 came up with the concept like, yo, we should all have a different perspective. If Dilla say it ain't him, then T, you should say it is you, and then I should say it maybe. I was like, oh, yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Because we were all build on each other's concepts. You know what I'm saying? And that was a big part of volume 2. And shout out to my man Rusty Roots. I see you on here too. Also, I want to say this too. A dope thing about volume 2 that people don't talk about a lot is the skits. The skits on volume 2, which were amazing. And 90% of those skits was by 10's brainchild. That's all by 10. So by 10 was big on doing impressions. So he would always do all these different impressions. He had a Sammy Davis Jr. He had a what he do? He did Morris Day singing with Prince on that one record. So we would do that. I mean, and based on our music, most of our music was based on comedy, believe it or not. Because all we did was crack jokes and just talk about people and situations all day long. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of got a lot of inspiration that you hear all that in our music.
Thelonious featuring Common.
Okay, this is what happened with that. Okay, I think Common was working on Like Water for Chocolate, and Dilla was working on volume 2 at the same time. So he double tasking. So Common was in town, but it was really a Slum Village session, but Common was still in D. So Dilla made a joint on the spot, because Dilla would make joints while, like, when people be in the basement sitting and talking and doing whatever they doing, Dilla would make beats right there. But with his headphones, you don't know what he making. you know what I'm saying? So he has his headphones. And if you see him say, ooh, you hear that? You know he got one. You know he got one. And when he turned it on, you knew. So when he turned it on, he's like, yeah, I think I got one for us. He was talking about Slum at that time. He said, I think I got one for us. And so he played it, and then Common was like, yo, man, I got to get this. He said, I got to get this. And then we was like, well, okay, yeah, you can get it as long as we can be on it. You know what I'm saying? As long as Slum can be on the record, yeah, let's do it. So that's how the record came about. You know what I'm saying? So Dilla working on that, and that was like right in the spot in the basement, man. And it came out dope. I don't know if I probably did write my verse on the spot, because most of our songs was wrote on the spot. At least one verse was wrote on the spot, just so the concept didn't go, even if the other cats took it home and finished it.
How hard was that to get to Common's MCA album? Was that difficult, or was that a pretty mutual agreement between having that song and on your album and his album?
We worked it out. It's all family. Common's family, man. We did other stuff on Like Water for Chocolate, skits and wrote on a record or two. Yeah. So yeah, that's family, man. That's nothing but family. So yeah, that was easy.
Well, I'm not really talking about personally, just like label drama. Was that
Oh
a
no, it wasn't no
problem?
drama. It wasn't no drama. It wasn't no drama. Common he was able to do what he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't tripping at all.
Looking back, what would T3 say his personal favorite song on the album is and why?
See, I always say this question. People ask, "What is your favorite song?" I was like, "Man, these are my children. These songs are my children. How can I say which child is better? You're not supposed to do that to your children." Come on, man. I can't say that. I love all my records. They all just uh it's all the time in my life. It all says something about my timeline. Is what every record says. So yeah, I love them all.
Overall, best memory of creating this album.
Best memory is just, man, sitting with your brothers, man, and just taking your stuff to the next level, going to that next level. You know what I'm saying? Sitting with By 10 and Dilla and the rest of the extended family and being able to achieve something that can get national success. So I definitely I miss Dilla, man. I miss By 10. I miss those. That's family. Those are my brothers, man. So, you know, that's the best part, man. To have those memories that you know that will never go away and never fade, and be able to listen to that music and remember that time. You know what I'm saying? That's the best part about it.
Right.
Oh yeah, shout out to Jazzy Jeff too. I didn't talk about that part when we did that on I Don't Know, and we sent the record to Jazzy Jeff, and he killed that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jazzy Jeff too.
Right.
Yeah.
You said earlier on your early demo helped you tour Europe. Do you have a crazy tour story, a tour lineup around this time in support of Fantastic
I
Volume
give
2
you
that
one. I give you one crazy tour story. Is this? So we getting ready to go to tour. First time in Europe, right? We got our passports. Everything is cool. And all of a sudden, Dylan said he lost his passport at the last minute. You know what I'm saying? Now, originally, we found out later he really didn't want to go because he wanted to stay and finish up all these beat projects. I mean, you know, producing projects that he had. But we at the same time he didn't want to let us down because this is our first time going to Europe and his first time going to Europe. So he flaked out to almost the last hour, bro. Like we almost missed the plane. And but he did came through. And shout out to Dylan for coming through, man. Woo! But that one, boy, that was like that. Boy, that had us scared because I was so excited, you know. And then once we went there, man, we had nothing but fun. We had a great time. You know what I'm saying? We just walking through the streets of Europe. First time going to Amsterdam. And you know what Amsterdam about. So we had great times, man.
How do you feel going to another place and seeing them know your music word for word and all your songs? What was that experience like?
I mean, it was amazing, man. It felt like some kids from Detroit, you know, from the inner city, was able to achieve something. You know what I'm saying? We came out, you know, it was hard for us to get out of Detroit because there wasn't no outlets. You know what I'm saying? All the labels was gone. There wasn't no Motown records no more. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to get on, you got to get on in another state. You know what I'm saying? You got to get on in New York or LA. So it took just to be able to achieve that at that time, man, was a blessing. So I'm just thankful and blessed for all the people who rode with Slum Village, with the ups and downs, and especially with that volume 1 and volume 2, because that was the start of our whole legacy. So I just want to just thank y'all for that. And it's 20 years, man. We're still here.
What do you think it is about the album that has kept it relevant for 20 years?
I mean, I think it's a bunch of things going on at one time. I think you got some real life topics on there as well. You got some comedy. You got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then it's just the soulfulness. You can feel the togetherness of the group. You know what I'm saying? You can hear the brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, the cohesiveness is almost everything. You know what I'm saying? And then you put a twist on it with the genius of Dilla's production.